Okay, so I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favourite films that came out in 1971. This is all in accordance with IMDb, so there's no real official right or wrong to this list. This is just my opinion on my favourite films that came out this year. So to start off with, I've got a few honourable mentions that I think are still quite good films, but just didn't quite make the top 10 for me. So to start off with is I've got Diamonds Are Forever, part of this James Bond collection, which is the seventh official James Bond film and officially Sean Connery's last. The Devils, really creepy movie. Last Picture Show. Macabre and Mrs. Miller. Walkabout. Get Carter. The Omega Man. 10 Rillington Place, really good Richard Attenborough film. Fiddler on the Roof. Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And Escape from Planet of the Apes, which is the third film in that original series. So, to start off with, number 10 for me is Clint Eastwood's directorial debut with Play Misty for Me. So Clint Eastwood plays a radio presenter who keeps getting harassed by a fan. This film sort of reminds me of a sort of a precursor to Fatal Attraction and Misery. That obsessed fan who just can't cope with the idea of not being with their idol. Really good, really creepy movie. Number 9 for me is Klute. Great sort of crime detective drama about Donald Sutherland's characters trying to solve a murder, and he recruits the help of Jane Fonda, who plays a call girl, who actually won Best Actress for this film in 71. Number 8 for me is a very early Steven Spielberg film called Duel. Sort of about road rage. You don't want to piss off the wrong sort of person on the road. This guy sort of gets into the wrong place at the wrong time with a truck driver. We never actually see the truck driver's face or any features of him, but he's constantly in pursuit of the main protagonist. A really, really suspenseful thriller. Number 7 for me is a film I actually saw at school, and it's Roman Polanski's Macbeth. I actually really like some of Shakespeare's stories. I actually like this and Romeo and Juliet. But this one's really good, about a sort of a friend to the Scottish king who's basically told by 3 witches, you're going to take the throne. You're going to be invincible. The forests are going to come alive, and no man born of woman's going to be able to kill you. All these real sort of things that will never happen, that actually do happen, get told, and it just ruins the plans. But it's a great film. Number 6 for me is Harold and Maude. Great film about these sort of two individuals that are both sort of outcasts from society. Harold's a 20-year-old and Maude's someone who's approaching her 80th birthday. Both sort of people who, Harold's sort of obsessed with death, and Maude's sort of like got this outlook on life that is like, we're only here once, we need to do what we want to do and enjoy it. And they both go to funerals of strangers, which is how they meet, and they form a bond and a great relationship. Really, really unique film. Number 5 for me is Straw Dogs. Sort of real gritty film set in the south of England. Sort of difficult to watch at times with the rape scenes, but the final act of the film is just great. Sort of in your face. Not I don't want to say action, but it's eventful. The end. I don't want to spoil it, but it's really really gripping stuff. Straw Dogs. So number 4 for me was actually the best winner at the Oscars for this year, which is the French Connection. I've got a 2-pack here with the sequel. Gene Hackman also won Best Actor at the Oscars as well. Great chase scene at the end on the train. One of my favourite scenes in the movie is where they're trying to find the drugs in the car, and they've got the 2 cars, and it's like, well, the weights aren't the same. So the drugs have to be in there. Yeah, really, 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 really good stuff. Number 3 for me is another Clint Eastwood film. It's the first Dirty Harry film. I remember seeing this film when I was quite young. I was obsessed with like Clint Eastwood films. I love like the westerns he did, and Dirty Harry it's one of the best sort of crime thrillers. I think it's great. It's got a great villain, Scorpio, absolutely despicable human being. We just want to see him get his comeuppance. He's a sniper who just shoots anyone. He shoots black people. He shoots gay people, children. The scene at the end where he takes the school bus hostage is just terrifying. The bus driver, the children are all crying as he's getting them to sing "Row, row, row your boat." He pays someone to beat him up, so he frames Harry for harassment. Also, he kidnaps and murders kids. But there's a scene in it that really makes me laugh, which is where it's not a spoiler, but Harry stabs him in the leg, and his reaction just cracks me up. But it is still a great film. You can't beat the one-liners as well, you know. Do you feel lucky, punk, and all that? It's great. It's great, real good filmmaking. And number 2 for me is an absolute childhood staple. I mean, it's one me and my friends always quote to each other, and it sort of has a weird first half for me, but it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I know Roald Dahl was not a fan of this. It wasn't really the version of the film he wanted to see, so much so that his name wasn't attached to it at all. Sort of like Stephen King with The Shining. He just wasn't happy with the way the film was being made and the final product. But yeah, the first half of the film for me growing up was kind of weird seeing, you know, all these scenes where people are after the golden tickets, and you know there's a therapist with someone, and the guy saying, "Oh, well, an angel came to me in my sleep and told me where I could find it," and the therapist is losing his shit, saying, "Tell me where it is. Tell me where it is." And the scene as well where there's a woman whose husband's been kidnapped, and she's like, "Well, the kidnappers have been in touch. What do they want? Oh, they want your last case of Wonka bars. Well, how long are they going to give me to think about it?" That stuff for me was so weird and disjointed with the film. But I love it now as an adult. It's great. The kid actors in the film as well, none of them are annoying, which normally is the case with child actors. But they all 5 of the main child actors fit in so well organically with the environment and the world that the film's setting up. The adults are hilarious, particularly Veruca Salt's dad. I absolutely love some of the lines he comes out with. Really great. Gene Wilder as well as Willy Wonka. He plays this guy who we don't know if we should trust him or not in the film. Absolutely genius actor. But as I say, I know Roald Dahl didn't want him. I think he wanted Spike Milligan as Willy Wonka. But no, it's perfect the way it is. It's a shame it got remade. I know, because it's the Tim Burton one just doesn't live up to this one, unfortunately. But no, it's one I grew up with as a kid, and it's one I definitely love. That's why it's number 2 for me. Number 1 is Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. I've got it in this box set here with a couple of his movies. I remember seeing this film. It was roughly about 2000, 2001. I think it would, because I believe the film came out commercially available to buy shortly after Stanley Kubrick's death, which I think was in the late 90s. Very, very tough film to watch. Some of the violence in it is very, very uncomfortable. Rape, murder. It's really, really tough stuff to sit through. But for me, I like the story, how it's about this teenager and he's part of a gang, and it sort of captures in a very short space of time what life's like for him, because he thrives off violence, he thrives off beating people up, rape, music, particularly Beethoven. Absolutely loves to cause all kinds of shit. And eventually it all comes to a halt. His gang mates sort of betray him when he gets caught by the police, and he spends 16 years. He's in jail for 16 years for accidentally killing someone, and he finds out while he's in jail that there's this rehabilitation scheme that he wants to participate in so he can rejoin society. And it's like, okay, well, it's never been tested on anyone. You'll be the first person for it to work on, if it does work. So it works on him. He has to sit through all this, or watching a lot of rape and murder, and then he's actually sort of enjoying it, and then he starts to hate it with the treatment. So that when his treatment finishes and he's coming towards the end of his jail term, they find out that it works, but he's been robbed of all his choice. So any sort of attempt at sexual interaction, violence, and even Beethoven's music, his body just starts to shut down. He just can't cope with it. So when he's released into society, he doesn't really have a choice. He can't, and sort of everyone he sort of wronged that we see at the beginning, in sort of one night, they all sort of take a piece of revenge against him. There's an old man he beats up in the beginning. Him and a couple of other old people beat him up. He bumps into his gang members who are now police. They beat him up. He meets the widower of a woman he raped and murdered. He causes him a lot of pain. His parents don't want him back at the house because they have got a lodger, and he ends up in hospital. And it's such a grim existence, I find, but it's my number 1, and I love it. It's a visual masterpiece as well. If we've not even touched on the directing and the shots, the music. It's such a great film. So yeah, that's my top 10 films of 1971. I'm hopefully going to be back soon with my top 10 from 1972. But yeah, if I've missed any that you think are worth a watch, please let me know, and maybe post down your own list as well, and I'll give that a read. But thanks very much for watching, and hopefully I should be back soon again with 1972. So thanks very much, and see you soon.